All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I don't know if I think I've met everybody, but in case you don't know me, I'm Mike Ezekiel, the new Sports Information Director for football. I want to introduce our players and coaches, starting with the guy to my right. We got Josh Smith, first team All-ASC last year, led the league in tackles, coming back this year as a linebacker. Coach Jordan Neal, first-year head coach for McMurry. To his right, our quarterback Xavier Alexander. He's been a member of the team since 2014 and going into his senior season. And then to his right, Eriel Dorsey, second team All-ASC wide receiver. We'll start with a statement from Coach, and then we'll open up for questions.
Really appreciate everybody being here. This is exciting for all of us. It's personally very, very exciting for me to be back in my hometown and to be here at McMurry. We've had incredible support from our administration and from so many wonderful friends and all the relationships that I've had over the years with friends and family here is just a real treat, and it's a thrill for me personally to be back. I can't be more proud of our coaching staff for the job that they've done in recruiting and planning and putting everything together for us to get this new program off the launch pad. And I also could not be more proud of our players, especially these guys right here, for their leadership, for their dedication, for their hard work, and the way that they've trusted and put their faith in us. So it's very exciting for us to be to this point, just 48 hours away from our first game. So again, thank you all for being here, and we're excited.
Questions?
Coach, upcoming, obviously first game for you. What are there nerves? Is there anticipation? Kind of take me through your mentality this time.
Not really. It's the thing you do as a coach and as a player is you get into a rhythm, and it was fun to get through our fall camp and to finally be to a place where it's like, hey, we've got a game here in 5 or 6 days or whatever, and what you try to do is just stay on rhythm and do what you do 5 days before the game, 4 days before the game, etc. And there's a lot more to it with a Thursday night game. It's a little bit of a different situation, but we're just trying to be ourselves and do our thing, and when the ball drops at 6 p.m., we'll be ready to go. When
the ball drops, how prepared is this team to kick off this new season?
Very. I mean, these guys, especially these guys right here who are returners, it's been a lot of new stuff for them, certainly, but they had the advantage and the benefit of going through a spring campaign, and these guys worked extremely hard over the summer as well. So I know that they're prepared. Their leadership is contagious. And for the freshmen coming in, many of whom are gonna play and are gonna contribute on offense, defense, and kicking game, those guys don't know anything different than just what they've seen and what has been shown to them by these guys and the other leaders on our team. So I'm excited. I think we've got a chance to be competitive, and I will continually message to our team that our goal and our mentality is to play to win every game.
And you have a young team. We talked about that a little bit ago. I guess how does the youth of this team grown over the summer through fall camp as well, and what do you expect from the younger players as well going into this new year?
Well, we consider our youth and inexperience to be a huge advantage for us, especially from the mental side of things. A freshman coming in doesn't know the past, and they don't know that maybe we're not supposed to be this or not supposed to be that or whatever. So they're just coming in looking for an opportunity to compete and play. And then for these guys, having kind of a clean slate and a new start, I know is something that was needed for them, and it's something that they're going to take full advantage of. So we consider our youth to be a huge advantage. And then when you look going into the future, you get excited as a coach about what you can develop. I'm sad that some of our seniors aren't going to get to be around us, and then we're not going to get to be around them but for one season. But we plan to take full advantage of the time that we have with those guys right now.
What new recruits are you especially excited about?
Well, we'll have a couple of freshmen that'll be playing on the offensive line to start out. Tyreek Gill is a freshman offensive lineman who's a big, massive, strong, smart kid playing guard for us from out of Mansfield. We've got Daniel Hernandez is another offensive lineman out of Pflugerville that we're excited about. And then we have a newcomer who's a sophomore on the field named Cameron Session, who's an outstanding running back, who's somebody that we're excited about. We've also got a graduate transfer senior named Leo Brownfield, who's transferred from within our conference. He's only got 1 year to play, but he's kind of a newcomer as well. And several others. We've got some receivers that are going to provide some depth that are freshmen that we're excited about. And then defensively in the secondary, Keyshawn Jonathan is a freshman safety. We've got a backup linebacker, Jahari Williams out of Haltom, who is also an exceptional talent who's going to be a good player for us. And then we also have another secondary player, Willie Crawford out of Lancaster, who's going to get the start. And we expect big things out of all those guys.
And shifting a little focus to Trinity, just kind of what have you seen from them and getting prepared for this one?
They're extremely well coached. Coach Jeremy Urban is their head coach. He played at Trinity, played in the NFL, played in a Super Bowl for the Cardinals in Arizona. Is a close personal friend of mine, so it'll be a little bittersweet having to be enemies for 3.5 hours on a Thursday night. But I just know that they're going to be very well prepared. They're massive on the offensive line. They run the ball extremely well. They're going to play possession ball. They don't beat themselves. And those are things that you can expect out of a Trinity team. Defensively, they give a lot of different looks. They play an odd front. They get several secondary players on the field, so they're going to have some speed on the field. And they're, when you look up and down their roster and up and down their 2D, they got a lot of juniors and seniors. So you know they've got guys that are experienced, and it ain't their first rodeo. So those are things that we're going to have to overcome. And but we've maintained from day one that we're going to expect to compete to win every game.
Quarterback is a fun position to talk to. Let's talk to you real quick here. So obviously Hurley last year was starter here. Now you are named the starter this upcoming season. I guess what does it mean to you to kind of take over that role? And I know that Kevin also is going to have a role as a wide receiver, I believe, too. So kind of take me through that. Also, if you can move the mic closer to him. Yeah, that's perfect there. Thank you.
It means a lot to be the starting quarterback. I know it comes with a lot of responsibility, and I'm just ready to take on that role and do what I can to help the team win.
What does it mean to have this opportunity and to take over that role as well?
It means a lot to me. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, and I think I'm prepared and ready, and I'm just ready to get the ball rolling and starting to play football again.
You're going to be airing it out to Kevin and also to Eriel as well. I guess Eriel, what does it mean to have, obviously a new QB in, and also what does the offense look like this upcoming season?
Coach Neal brought a great playing with him from his last school, Hendrix. He came in with a mindset to change the offense, and get the ball moving down the field and score points. X is a great passer, and also a great leader on the field. So we'll hopefully excel this year.
Josh, what's a key for this defense to kind of put some of last year's stuff behind you guys and to refocus and to maybe complement what the offense is hoping to be able to do this year?
I believe the biggest thing that we have this season to start off with a clean slate is our defensive coordinator, Coach Jennings. He brings in a lot of expertise and a lot of insight from other programs and winning programs he's had, winning defenses, and just his mastermind that he has, on that headset. It has a lot of guys playing outside of themselves, and I think just his coaching, a lot of what he's brought to the program, just the aura itself, has had a lot of guys excel, and I feel like with what he's brought, it allows us to dictate the playbook that any offense brings to us, and we're looking forward to using that this season.
Xavier, if you could talk about, just kind of share your story with us about, what you kind of went through last year to kind of get to where you are now, because you did play a little bit before earning the hardship waiver. Just kind of talk a little bit about, last season for you and where you are now.
Last year, the third game of the season against Howard Payne, tore my ACL in the fourth quarter, and so ever since then, I've been rehabbing and getting back healthy and preparing for this season. And it's been a long journey, but I'm ready to go. So.
What was that journey? I guess you said it's a long journey. I'd imagine. So I guess what was the rehab like? And is it now that you're able to play? How are you going to keep up and make sure that something like this? I know it's obviously difficult to avoid injury, but how do you kind of keep yourself healthy and keep yourself going, especially recovering from such a serious injury?
Well, first, I take stretching a lot more serious. So yeah, that's very important. I stretch a lot before the game. I continue to rehab and continue to try to strengthen my knee and just be ready to go and play smart and know when to get down and just be a leader for the team.
Coach, what does it mean to have X be your quarterback this year? What kind of led you to that decision?
Well, the first thing is it's depressing because I only get him for 1 year. But the thing about X, when you see him throw the ball jumps off of his hand. He throws a tight spiral, which is crucial out here in the West Texas wind. But he's a heads-up player. He understands what we're trying to do. He may not have had 1,000 reps at it, and he certainly has a lot of catching up to do in terms of being able to get to a place where he can really do it in his sleep and coach it back to us. But he's got all the ability in the world, and I'm just ready for him to be able to get out there and get back to that feeling of what does it feel like to get that first completion, and what does it feel like to take your team down the field and produce a touchdown scoring drive. And he will. I know he's going to play confident, he's going to play fast, and he's going to play loose. And he understands that he's got guys like him and guys like Kevin, and he's got a stable of running backs that he can rely on. And he doesn't have to do it all by himself. He's just got to be what I always call, he's got to be the conduit. He's the guy that distributes the ball to the other players on the field and lets them be great.
Josh, if you would just talk a little bit about what's going to be different this year on defense. You talked about Coach Jennings and some of the things that he's wanting to do, and some things that are different with you. Just kind of talk about your expectation for this year.
For me personally, I'm sure these guys could say the same thing from the other side of the ball. Just the culture that we have as a defense as a whole is entirely different. A lot of the things that we do off the field before we go out to take practice insinuate what we're trying to do as a program. But as far as the defense, with the new coaching, the new pregame that we go through, pre-practice, a lot of stuff that you guys will see this season we do when it comes to turnovers or big plays. A lot of things that build a new sort of culture and that fire and aggression that we tend to have on our defense. So it's a lot of stuff that you guys will see this year that you can notice the difference.
And I would add to that too. I would say, Josh is one of those guys that has been such a star because he's been on the field a lot, and you're going to get a lot of production out of a guy who's out there a bunch and being relied on to do so much. One of the things I'm excited about this guy is not having to feel like he's got to make every play, and his production is actually going to increase in terms of its impact. We expect Josh to make a lot of tackles for loss and to get after the quarterback and to be a guy that can funnel the ball to somebody else who's capable of making that tackle and creating that turnover and being able to play more team ball on defense. And we're going to show a lot of different looks. And Coach, he's right. Coach Jennings has a great plan. He knows exactly what he wants. And he knows how to get it out of these guys, and I think he's going to draw a lot of production out of the talent that we have over there.
Coach, it's obvious that in a short amount of time you've made connections with these players, and I'd imagine the majority of your team too. But I guess, with that short amount of time, what have you learned from your players maybe, and how has that growth, I guess the growth been for you with your players just chemistry-wise?
All I can say is that I'm thankful. I'm thankful for these guys. I remember our very first team meeting. I told them straight up, I said, look guys, I didn't ask for you and you didn't ask for me. And we're going to be trying to develop a bond as if we recruited you. And although that wasn't the case. So just the way these guys have accepted me And they've given me grace in my first role as a head coach because I don't know what I'm doing yet. We're figuring it out together. And that is what I'm going to, especially these seniors, when they graduate and move on, they're going to be always very special to me because of the way they've accepted me and our new staff and the way they've bought in and committed almost blindly. And I think that will have, in time, I think that will have a lot of residual positive effect for the guys that are juniors and the guys that are sophomores and certainly the ones that are freshmen right now. So I'm just thankful.
Josh, what does it mean to you, kind of going off what your coach said, to leave that legacy and also to help the newer guys come in as well and work with the new coaching staff?
Personally, I feel like you couldn't have a better person besides Abilene's finest here. So, gather us up together. But I totally agree with everything he said. And the moment he got here and he saw this little mustache guy walking down, it means us that his heart means well. He's a godly man, and everything he does for each player on this team and everybody in this organization, you can tell that it means something to him. And his legacy that he plans to leave, I'm full-heartedly behind it, as I am with myself and the legacy that I plan, and these gentlemen next to me plan to leave. And I believe that what he's doing and what he's putting within each of these players means a lot to himself, the players, ourselves, and this entire community. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do for us.
Eriel, what about you guys? Kind of same question for you. What does it mean?
I agree, especially me being a quarterback. I know Coach Neal used to be a quarterback as well, and still can sling it. But I think he's the perfect guy for this job, and I'm glad we have him. He just holds us at a higher standard than we're used to, and I'm just glad we have him here.
Yeah, same like he said, Coach Neal pushes us towards being great, so it isn't, so like he doesn't let us slack, lack around, and so like he just wants us to be better players and then also a better man, so that's a great thing.
Anybody else?
Coach Neal, are we healthy? What injuries or concerns do we have?
We have a couple of guys that are injured right now. Nothing too serious. We'll never use injuries as a crutch or as an excuse. I mean, we've hammered hammered it into our guys' minds the mentality of the next man up. The next man has got to be ready to hold the rope and get out there and be responsible for his job and his role. But I feel pretty good. I think we're in pretty good shape. We've had some soft tissue injuries, but nothing too serious. We've had a couple of guys that have gone out. Lost one of our fullback running backs to relatively serious ankle injury, but he's actually probably better than we thought he was going to be. But I think we're going to be healthy and we'll be ready to go on Thursday.
Cool. Anybody else? All right, guys, thank you so much. Just quick housekeeping things. For every week here on out, after week 1, we'll be trying to do this on Thursdays at noon. We'll kind of do sort of the same thing. We'll do the press conference at 12, and then after the press conference, around 12:30, 1 o'clock, we'll eat somewhere in between that. So appreciate you all being here. Guys, thank you again for taking the time to be with us. And
These guys are pretty awesome.
yeah, I'll tell you. Bunch of great guys here.
And so is he. We'll have to get you next time. That's Khalil.
Hey, appreciate y'all.
And with that, we're dismissed.